when you watch Zeitgeist. And now we move on to Attis, because, of course, everything in this was sourced. No, nothing in the movie Zeitgeist about Attis was sourced, and Wikipedia doesn't mention anything about a birth and December 25th or anything like that, but I will automatically assume that he was correct about that, because I'm going to nail him on those anyways later. Anyways, as far as his virgin birth, I just want to do a little comparison, because this is what this is all about. This whole point of the movie is comparing Jesus to previous mythological gods. So, let's go for it. Now, as far as his virgin birth goes, do you consider the following similar to what happened to Mary? This is from Wikipedia about the virgin birth, if you will, of Attis. Yeah, Attis. The Olympian gods, fearing Aegisthus, now that's his father, cut off the male organ because he had both, and cast it away. There grew up from it an almond tree, and when its fruit was ripe, Nana, who was a daughter of the river Sangarius, picked an almond and laid it in her bosom. The almond disappeared, and she became pregnant. Nana abandoned the baby. I mean, the comparisons to Mary are staggering when you think about it. Right? I mean, basically the same thing. Crucifixion, by any means, had not been invented yet, as I've already explained, by this time period. And let's compare Jesus to Attis, because, hey, that's the whole point of this little section of Zeitgeist. Let's compare their deaths, because, he didn't. You're about to find out why. Jesus forewarned that he would have to die on the cross, told his servants not to fight, as his kingdom was not of this world. He was arrested willingly, as he had already prophesied, and by fulfilling all the Old Testament prophecies, was crucified on the cross. In doing so, a man with no sin was punished. He paid our fine, so that we may be with him and the Father. Now that is how Jesus died. Well, at least his, human form. Now, let's compare that to how Attis died. According to Wikipedia, which says that just as Attis' wedding song was being sung, his parents appeared in their transcendent power, and Attis went mad and cut off his genitals. Period. Well, I guess in this case it is possible that Attis could have had a virgin death, but nonetheless, Attis was reborn as the evergreen pine. Not an evergreen pine, but the evergreen pine. That is not a resurrection. That is barely a possible form of Hinduism. He came back as a freaking vicus. Okay? No. And now we have Krishna, because Krishna, hey, according to Wikipedia, cults that worship Krishna existed as early as 400 BC, not 900. So there's the first problem. Enough with these miracle claims, because he has yet to stop claiming that these created people did miracles. Jesus was witnessed performing miracles. At least he wasn't a person who never existed being wrote about. Now, whether you believe he actually performed the miracles is up to you. It's also important to point out that this particular god, Krishna, was believed to be a god, and so therefore you can't say he was a god without following that by, and they say when he died he went back into heaven, or it would be a pretty useless god, I mean, being dead and all. That's fair enough. And then that, of course, brings us to Dionysus, because this one's like the big one right here. Everything said about Dionysus in Zeitgeist is wrong. Of course, we'll get to the birth later, because even though I've said that, Wikipedia doesn't say any of these people were born on December 25th, I will give him the benefit of the doubt later in this film and say that they were all born on December 25th, because it doesn't matter. But anyways, but all this is a lie, because he doesn't have a birth date, according to Wikipedia. And Wikipedia also said there were many, many mythologies surrounding this character, the main being the one Wikipedia describes him primarily being, also known as Bacchus. And the frenzy he induces, Bacchia. He is the patron deity of agriculture and the theater. He was also known as the liberator, freeing one from one's normal self by madness, ecstasy, or wine. He's described as being womanly, or man-womanish, that's in quotes. Now, Wikipedia also had a one-sided argument like Zeitgeist in the section named Parallels to Christianity, because clearly the descriptions I just gave of you of Dionysus are just like Jesus Christ. I mean, that is just obvious. I mean, it's not even deniable. I can't even fight it, but I'm going to try. This is because Dionysus was known for being able to change water into wine. The Old Testament said that the Messiah would perform a miracle of turning water to wine. That's why Jesus did it. So of course God had to do it. In all seriousness, this was just to show also that the real-life Messiah could do anything that any old non-existent god could do. It does show Jesus as superior to Dionysus. And he was also never referred to as the Alpha and Omega together, especially. Besides, people didn't refer to Jesus as Alpha and Omega. God said, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last. Now this is being said by God from the throne coming to earth, as if he is saying that, behold, it wasn't those whom the non-believers said, but I who is truly God, Alpha and Omega, first and last. Think about it. There's no sourcing for any of the information he is in this part about Dionysus, so of course, and I can't see if anything that he said was even legit to where he says he got it from, so we just assume he got it from his head. Now, due to time restraints, because, you know, time is important here, I'm trying to not take all your time, I just assumed that you could see a pattern, and I didn't discuss all the BS that surrounds Mithra, because we need to hurry up and move on to the better parts of the movie, so, you know, I just figured I'd make a mockery of this and kind of move on.